And this is the true story of Joasia, haunted or a gifted young girl. Joasia was a 13-year-old schoolgirl who exhibited astounding paranormal abilities in the spring of 1983. Her abilities were often beyond her conscious control and mystified and frightened the people around her. The inexplicable, often destructive psychokinetic effects she randomly generated, even in her sleep, were met with disbelief. Following the death of her grandmother, Joasia began to experience supernatural disturbances that she could not explain. Eventually, she caught the attention of several courageous, open-minded scientists who administered tests and conducted numerous experiments with her under controlled laboratory conditions. Over 40 months, they studied her in detail, and though ultimately inconclusive, they succeeded in confirming the girl's remarkable abilities. Joasia's story is a remarkable case. It is a story of a young girl who experienced supernatural phenomena that she could not explain, and how her abilities caught the attention of scientists who studied her in detail. This article will tell the complete story of Joasia, including the events leading up to her supernatural abilities, the experiments conducted by scientists, and the impact her abilities had on her life. Joasia was born on August 29, 1969, in Sosnowiec, Poland. She was the youngest of 3 children born to her parents, Alexia and Mietek Gajewski. Her family were known to be close-knit. Joasia's grandparents, who lived in the same building, were also an integral part of her life. Joasia attended primary school in Sosnowiec and was known to be a bright student. Her parents were strict, loving, and they instilled in her a strong work ethic and a sense of responsibility from a young age. Joasia was also brought up in a Catholic household and attended church regularly with her family. Aside from her studies, Joasia was interested in sports and was an active member of her school's volleyball team. She was also known to be an avid reader and had a particular interest in science fiction and fantasy novels. Overall, Joasia's early life was relatively normal and uneventful. She was a happy and well-adjusted child who was loved by her family and friends. However, this all changed when she entered her teenage years and began to exhibit paranormal abilities that amazed and frightened those around her. Joasia was a student when she began to exhibit paranormal abilities. In the spring of 1983, Joasia suddenly began to exhibit astounding paranormal abilities, often beyond her conscious control. She was able to move objects with her mind, levitate herself and others, and even cause poltergeist activity. These abilities were often beyond her conscious control, which made her situation even more difficult. According to the first news, this was soon after the death of her grandmother. Her family and friends were terrified, and they did not know how to help her. However, Joasia was able to control her psychic abilities. She was able to calm it down and eventually make it disappear. She could move objects without touching them, levitate, and cause electrical disturbances. Her abilities were so remarkable that they caught the attention of several scientists who administered tests and conducted numerous experiments with her under controlled laboratory conditions, and their studies were published in a book titled The Elusive For Remarkable Case of Poltergeist Activity and Psychokinetic Power by Anna Ostrozeka. For a period of 40 months, the scientists confirmed Joasia's remarkable abilities. Her case was documented in Michael Clarkson's book, The Poltergeist Phenomenon, which describes her abilities in detail. Joasia's story became a subject of interest to many people around the world, and she gained a reputation as a remarkable poltergeist girl. Joasia's story became widely known in Poland and beyond, and she was featured in various media outlets. Her case was one of the most remarkable cases of poltergeist activity and attracted the attention of researchers and paranormal enthusiasts. Joasia's abilities were even recognized by her government, and she was invited to participate in various events and conferences. Joasia's personal philosophy was shaped by her experiences as a young girl with extraordinary paranormal abilities. Her experiences motivated her to explore the nature of reality and the limits of human potential. Joasia was influenced by the works of Carl Jung, who believed the human psyche had a collective unconscious that was shared by all humans. She was also influenced by the works of Arthur Koestler, who wrote about the possibility of paranormal phenomena and the limits of scientific knowledge. Joasia believed that humans had the potential to tap into a universal energy that could be used for healing and other positive purposes. She believed that this energy was accessible through meditation, visualization, and other spiritual practices. Joasia also believed that paranormal phenomena were real and could be studied scientifically. Overall, Joasia's personal philosophy was characterized by a deep curiosity about the nature of reality and the limits of human potential. She believed that humans had the ability to achieve great things if they were open-minded and willing to explore the unknown. Her first incident took place on Easter Monday, 1983, in the Gajewski's flat in Sosnowiec, where suddenly the furniture started to move of its own accord. Glass also broke and its shards injured the girl, as objects were flying in the air and strange crackling sounds could be heard. A few days later, the situation repeated itself. Objects again flew around the flat, performed violent maneuvers, and this time began to disappear and reappear in completely different places, sometimes penetrating through material obstacles. The haunted flat soon became notorious in Sosnowiec. Local officials and the police visited, even witnessing an attack by the poltergeist. As the authorities did not know what to do, the family was resettled in nearby salads. However, the poltergeist followed them, and it soon became clear that the phenomena were centered around Joasia and that she was the source. She was emitting a kind of supernatural influence that set objects around her in motion, also known as telekinesis. This phenomenon included spontaneous water appearing on walls, to unexplained fires and shattering light bulbs, which glowed long afterwards, to flying objects making right turns in midair. Joasia would experience a decrease in energy and suffer headaches following a severe outbreak. According to her nurse, Joasia was sick for hours following each episode, looked lethargic, and didn't eat much. Her doctors and scientists systematically studied the telekinetic phenomena occurring around Joasia. She underwent numerous medical examinations, as well as various biophysical, psychological, metallographic, and telepathic tests. The research aimed to understand and explain the strange activity associated with her scientifically. She was tested with one experiment proving that Joasia could bend cutlery and other metal objects by willpower. She was also able to induce telekinesis by filling the room with ultraviolet light, ionized air, and stopping electronic clocks. What makes Joasia's case even more important is that her doctor did what, unfortunately, few researchers have done in other countries. He brought in other physicians, scientists, and researchers for a multidisciplinary study of the teenager. They not only verified the reality of the phenomena, but also identified physical anomalies, as well as psychological factors that might contribute to producing them. They found that Joasia had a low level of dopamine, which is sometimes found in epileptic seizures. In addition, the examination of her retinal afterimages showed interesting anomalies, some of which are associated with a malfunctioning thyroid gland, although Joasia's thyroid was normal. On January 28, 1985, during Joasia's stay at the Academic Rehabilitation Center in Zakopane, one particularly frightening incident took place in front of the head nurse and an orderly. Joasia, in a seemingly illogical manner, moved a mirror from one room to another, causing it to shatter. The broken glass formed a streak in the air that attacked the nurse. This wasn't the only incident during the stay in Zakopane. Small items from neighboring rooms entered the girl's room, including lamps, utensils, cups, keys, and light bulbs from locked cabinets. The case is extraordinary for several reasons. It continued with variable intensity for 7 years, whereas most phenomena of this kind generally lasted for a few months to a year. The case was also unique due to its meticulous documentation. She was studied intensively under strict laboratory conditions over months by several interdisciplinary teams of specialists who ruled out any possibility of a hoax but failed to determine the exact cause of the bizarre, often destructive kinetic effects generated by her powers. As Joasia neared the end of her adolescence, the phenomena tapered off. Joasia Gajewska went on to live a quiet life away from the public eye. She married and had children, and reportedly did not experience any further paranormal events. In her later years, Gajewska kept a low profile and did not seek attention for her past experiences. However, in 2023, her daughter Karen Kirsten published a book titled My Grandmother's Secret, which revealed the truth about Gajewska's parents being Holocaust survivors and the trauma they endured. Despite the revelations, Gajewska remained a private individual and did not make any public statements about the book or her past. She passed away in 2022 at the age of 52. Gajewska's story continues to fascinate and intrigue those interested in the paranormal. Her case remains one of the most well-documented and puzzling instances of poltergeist activity, and her abilities continue to be studied and debated by experts in the field. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button, tell us your thoughts in the comments, or if you have any suggestion for future videos. I would love to hear them, and subscribe to stay up to date with the latest weird and wonderful paranormal stories from around the world. Until next time.